Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV, and we have Dan Ubick.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
yeah, man, Dan is a musician of sorts,
Of sorts.
you know.
Many sorts.
And you know, the funny thing about it is we've crossed paths before we did music together, or you did music with the Far Side. We crossed paths. De La was in town, and it was kind of mid. It wasn't mid. It was probably kind of at the beginning of the Gorillas thing,
Oh, okay.
and they had us come down to a studio session downtown. I believe it was. I believe it was somewhere down. It was downtown, and I
Yeah.
want to say the Lions were. You guys were. The Lions was doing a record with the De La Soul at the time. I don't know if you were part of that, but I know Dan Hasty was.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't the Lions. It was a group called, but a bunch of those cats. It was Hasty for sure.
Yeah, it was like a
Uh,
reggae. They were like some the cat. They could play reggae though. The
for
cat,
sure. For sure.
but that wasn't kind of what they were doing. It was they were doing like some old hip hop ish kind of breaks.
Yep. That's my man Davey Chegwin's group. It's called Rhythm Roots All Stars.
That's who it was.
And
That's who it
yeah, they
was.
did end up doing a record with De La. That turned out cool. And yeah, we were rehearsing with them. We did a bunch of shows with them, backed them up on tour for a long time, and had a
Okay.
blast with De La, man. Fish was our drummer from Fishbone.
Oh man, dude, we did the Far Side did a show in Florida, and I saw Fish in the lobby, and I was just like, damn, because I'm a super Fishbone fan. You know
Same,
what I'm saying?
same,
And
man.
I gave him his prompts because I remember when he wasn't in the band for a while and he was doing this thing with Justin Timberlake and those guys.
Right.
There was a TMZ clip
Yeah.
and they kind of ran up on him, and I don't think they knew he was from Fishbone. Like they figured out after the fact he was Fishbone, and then
Okay.
they asked him a question and he got mad and he was like, "Fool, this is Fishbone." He banged on him. I was like, "Go
Yeah.
ahead, Fish." You know what I'm saying?
Bad dude, man. I mean, he plays those drums, and he's like a multi black belt too.
Oh yeah, no, he's into the martial arts and
Yep.
whatnot. It was funny. I interviewed Norwood, and he had told me a story because I used to because I got into Fishbone probably like when I was in junior high school. Man, I had to be it had to be about 84, 85, like 80, 80, probably like 80 between 82 and 84, like really heavy.
Yeah.
And I remember it would amaze me because one of Fishbone's intro songs was like a Mandrill cover. And
Oh,
it was like Fence Walk. It was like they had kind of like took a break from Fence Walk and they play it.
yeah.
And it was dope to me because you didn't see black people playing that music. You know what I'm
That
saying?
time for
It would be
sure.
like some ska dudes, some punk dudes, or whatever, and
Yeah.
they're like rocking these breaks. And
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it was when I heard it. Like I just thought it was like some funky Fishbone, and then I heard Fence Walk years later, and I'm like, oh,
I
I'm
know.
like, oh. But
Yeah, they're bad. Fishbone, man. Changed my life
no,
around for
yeah,
sure.
no, they're real dope. And so Norwood had told me a story because Fish, when he would play, he doesn't face the audience.
Right.
He always faces away. And so yeah, if you talk to Norwood, he has a very interesting story about that.
Oh yeah, I want to hear that, man.
And it's kind of dope. And so,
Ah,
and so not only do we have Dan and anybody who's watching it, I like to tell stories. My family's from Mississippi. We make good barbecue, tell great stories. That's what we do.
nice.
So we also have Professor Shorthair from New Orleans, from the NOLA, tapping in.
What's up? What's going on?
Oh man, this is dope. It's like 3 degrees of separation, kind of sorta. It's like it went from Dan shooting me an email to him coming down, Brown recording his parts, to him taking some video clips and snips before he took off, to me looking on Instagram and seeing a 45 record.
Yes,
There
sir.
you go. It all happened like that.
Yeah. So the first question will be for you, Professor Shorthair.
Mhm.
Let's get into your name, Professor Shorthair. Let's
Right.
start with that, and then then I got a
Well,
great hip hop question for you.
well, Professor Shorthair is an homage to Professor Longhair. So he's one of the quintessential piano players developed his own style here in New Orleans. And then, so I dubbed myself in honor of him. After dubbing myself that, I found out that there was a Professor Shorthair from New Orleans as well who studied under Professor Longhair. But so just paying homage, and then I've been balding for a while now, so it kind of fit. So
don't trip.
shout out to my fellow baldies.
We in the same fraternity.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, man. Dan's the one that got it going on over there, man. You know what I'm saying?
He's got the burning bush.
It's all silver, but I got it.
He's got it.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, Professor Shorthair, when was the first time you heard hip hop?
Oh man. I mean, I started early 80s as well, so I got into like UTFO, Roxanne Shante when they were beefing. Run DMC, Sucker MCs was
the first time you heard it, though.
The first time I heard hip hop. God, it could have been like Nucleus or something, but I don't know. I can't remember the exact time it was. I remember certain tracks that were out at a certain time. Nucleus.
We'll say Nucleus predates hip hop. Well, it doesn't predate it, but that was more like electro hop kind of. I'm saying hip hop. I'm saying somebody rapping. It could even be rapping
live.
No. Just the first time you heard somebody rapping.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're asking Ben first, so I can think about my first time.
I mean, the thing that sticks in my mind really was, this is not the first time, but the first real strong memory is listening to UTFO, being in a group called Rock Against Racism, and we were breakdancing. We would go to different schools. So obviously it was prior to that, but that's my first strong memory of listening to it on a boombox.
No, so I'll give you that. I'll say, you know, I heard Rapper's Delight, but when hip hop like hit me, like a sock to the chest hit me, I'll say Run DMC, man, with you know, I'll say they from where I'm from, which would be like the South Bay in California, South Bay in Los Angeles, California, because it's like I'm sure there's a South Bay up north, but we're near LA. We're 10, 15 minutes away. But Run DMC is like that, Suck MC. That was it was amazing to see them rap the way that they were rapping. And then
for sure,
I would say shortly after that, they got woven into the whole MTV thing. So that was who you were seeing on, you know, one of the faces that you would see on MTV, which it's crazy because like now people kind of, they'll go to YouTube to like Hot 97 for like the popular stuff. Like they'll go to YouTube and go to these different radio stations who have gotten into the video side of it to kind of get their stuff. But like for me coming up, man, MTV, man, that was, you know,
for sure.
If you liked it or if you didn't like it, if it came on MTV, it was, you know, it's certified. You're looking at something. But now, you know, that was back when, you know, videos were probably $1 million or something, you know, just ridiculous amounts of money for videos that weren't the technology. It was the top of its time. But if you look at it now, it'll probably be looking like, look like Star Wars with the strings, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Battlestar Galactica.
Oh man, he took it
pretty much.
He took it back. So, Professor Shorthair, when did you realize you had a passion for music?
Oh man, I mean, I took drum lessons as a kid, and then my first instrument was like a violin, but I really didn't gravitate till I took on drums. So when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I started drumming. It wasn't until 92 is when I bought turntables and a sampler, my first EPS 16 plus. And that's when I really took off in terms of making beats and DJing, and been doing it ever since. So
I got this one for Dan. When you were in junior high school, what music was popping? It
Well,
doesn't have to be hip hop.
when I
Just
was in junior high school, I mean, I was in junior high school, let's see, from 84 to 86. So, you know, it was Beastie Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J. It was all that. It was The Clash. It was Adam and the Ants. It was Susie and the Banshees and The Cure and the Smiths, Duran Duran, you know, New Wave, all that first hip hop stuff, you know.
madness.
Madness, the
Mm,
specials, you know, all the two-tone stuff. But I had older brothers and sisters, so I was getting all the Bowie and T-Rex and
mm.
that stuff too. But yeah, junior high was a lot. I remember a lot of hip hop and new wave for sure.
See, you got a cool. I had the same junior high school experience, and it's crazy because it seems like you see junior high school kids, they'll more or less emulate the way that the younger artists, um, I guess how they look or how they dress and stuff like that. But when I was in junior high school, and I was in junior high school around the time you were,
Yeah.
there was a lot of dope band merch floating around too, man. Like ridiculous shirts. You don't see too much. You see some of it, but it's not.
Hmm.
You know, it's. I just remember in junior high school, the cool kids. You know, they
Oh,
had like a
sure.
lot of dope band T-shirts. And
Yeah, it was
Mm.
like something about that age too. Like, I don't know if parents have gotten more worried just because the world's gotten crazier, but like we would be going to the Palladium and to the, you know, Santa Monica Civic seeing shows and stuff when I was in junior high school, you know, like I saw the Stray
Mm.
Cats, I saw
yeah,
all kinds of different stuff. Fishbone with Public Enemy and Stetsasonic at the Civic Center, uh,
Wow.
and Living Color. I was crazy. So like all
Mm.
these shows that were just like I was 14, 15, going to all these great shows, you know. And yeah, you're right. All the cool
Mm.
kids who really love music would always come back with the great T-shirts from the shows.
you know what?
And
I just learned a couple shows ago.
Yeah.
The show before last, as a matter of fact, I interviewed Bobo, Cypress Hill,
Oh yeah.
and I never knew that the Untouchables were from Venice.
Yeah.
I never knew that, man. I thought they were like San Diego or something like that for whatever reason. You
Yeah.
know, they
I don't
just,
know if I knew all of them were. I know you know Brew. I bet you know Brew.
I don't know any of them, man.
He's friends with
I
Norwood too. He's a good dude.
that was like the Untouchables to me was kind of like, you know, that time and space was so far before social media and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
once again, they were one of those groups. If you see somebody on MTV, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they were like that group to me.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's cool.
Yeah. So you, Professor Shorthair. So you get into high school.
yes.
You're drumming in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
By high school, how many bands had you been in?
Um, the first band I was in is called Strike Zone or Strike Force, something like that.
Nice.
Really bad. And I think we were just trying to like get to first, second base. You know
Greg
what I
looks
mean?
like he's in strike zone with that background right now.
He's, he's Strike Force.
Strike force.
So by that time, yeah, I mean, starting around high school, I started to get in a couple of hip hop groups. Me and my friends were just sort of bouncing around. Actually, no, that was right after high school. So, but up until that point, probably about 3 different bands, something like that. So,
You know, it's crazy. When the Pharcyde got signed, I was their homeboy, and I would go to the record label with them, and I kind of ushered in a couple of friendships with different people that were kind of like some of the cool people around the label, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of, sort of. And I remember I had heard like Rare Grooves
mm,
prior to them getting signed,
Yeah.
but the way I heard it, you never heard full mixes of it. You know what I'm saying? It would just be like a song. It would be like a radio station or something like that. And then
Yeah.
they would like play a bunch of music. And then it would be that one rare groove in there that someone would probably sneak or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, but I remember after the Pharcyde got signed, you know, I would go to these parties and like the whole party was rare grooves, and I remember that being amazing to me. And like seeing dudes that could rock rare grooves, like rest in peace, Skate Master Tate. Like seeing dudes rock rare grooves for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and
Right.
and it's amazing because I look at the two of you guys, and to a certain extent, you make a living out of it. You know, you haven't stopped messing with it, but it's crazy how the generations of rare grooves have come to people like yourself, where you know you put out projects before Dan, and then Professor Shorthair, you know, he's you know doing his projects, and he's done prep projects as well as you own a record store, correct? Or you run a record store?
Yeah, I own a record store in New Orleans.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, it's called NOLA Mix Records. It's we've been open almost 6 years now, and it's all vinyl, and it's knock on wood.
What's the address?
It's 1522 Magazine Street. Are you going to show up or what?
I'm going to try to. I'm going to surprise you sometime, man.
Do it.
Hey, man. If
we got to do a record release party in the store.
I love it. I love it.
If you say you have some beignets down there, man, I might.
Hell yeah.
He does. He's got some mugs that say beats and beignets on it.
I do.
You got to get Greg and Brown some of those. They're great.
I will.
That's
hell yeah.
So tell me this: how did the two of you guys come together, and what was the birth of what we know as All Night, from courtship to gestation period to where we are right now, and it being about to be released on Friday?
It was a warm summer night, and we first met at Funky Soul, right? You came with Logie down to the Funky.
I was spinning with DJ Plattern. Me and Plattern had a record release party, and Miles Tackett put us on, and then that's how I got to meet you.
Yeah, that's true.
I had been a fan of yours since mid-90s, spinning all the Connie Price stuff.
Oh,
so
that's cool, man.
That was great to be able to hear, to connect with you. So
thank you, man.
So yeah, it was Funky Soul, and we just kept the dialogue going, and then you being you, who knows a lot of the cats in that scene, hit up Brown, and so we pitched, a New Orleans inspired song. Most of the releases, part of this series, it's called NOLA Breaks, has been samples. It's been sort of flips of 60s, 70s funk songs. So we wanted to kind of continue that, but without samples. So Dan hooked up the track, and Brown did the rest.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. Since we've spoken about beignets and humidity and all that, I'm having these New Orleans thoughts go through my mind. And man, when I was first learning about rare grooves, that space and time of like 90, 91, 92, and people actually like a rare groove being more than just a song or a little compilation CD that's not mixed, but people actually mixing, rare grooves. The meters hit us by storm, man. And I'll just say, the meters, it's like, it was just like, I don't know who in hip hop sampled them first, but it seems like after the first person sampled them, it was just like so many records and so many samples, and it was just amazing. But
yeah, I mean, they are my favorite funk band of all time, not just New Orleans, but the early instrumental stuff specifically is just, it basically is hip hop, because it's so stripped down. It's so, the bare bones, you can basically just rap over it. So, I mean, the meters is just lends itself to it.
It's just amazing how those four dudes created such catchy, hooky stuff over and over again with just four instruments. It's nuts.
Yeah.
How many hooks they created with just organ, guitar, bass, and drum set. It's nuts.
And the crazy thing about it is, a lot of it isn't mixed really super dope.
Well,
But it is so dope that like it's just
Right.
been sampled by so many people.
well, they were always, I've heard them talk about this, and they were always doing those, like for the Josie stuff, their first few records that got sampled a ton. They were doing that like at the end of other sessions. Like they'd be doing shit for Earl King or Irma Thomas or Dr. John or whoever it might be. And then they'd have like a half hour. So, like, let's throw down that little groove Leo wrote, you know? Like, it's
Oh,
pretty incredible. It's just like last
that's
minute business, you know?
that's where gumbo is basically.
Yeah.
It's just all the scraps,
Yeah.
everything, and just make something new out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's dope. So
Well, the rare groove thing is crazy because, I mean, you obviously grew up with, and we're coming up with Brown and Imani and the guys, and that record, the first Pharcyde record, Paul's Boutique, 3 Feet High and Rising, all those records that were coming out a little earlier than that, and Bizarre Ride were so inspiring, to me for sure, just with the collage of samples, the Quincy
Mhm.
Jones sample, boop 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 boop, ba-doop ba-doop boop 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 boop, er, the Quincy Jones sample, like it was just like all that stuff was like, man, I got to find out where that came from, and I got to find out where that came
Right.
from. What's that bass line from? It was just like I knew James Brown and I knew all kinds of music. I grew up in a musical family, but that era of hip hop was just sampling such deep records that it's like you just had to find out where the original came from. Sometimes the original was even better than what was sampled, and sometimes you're like the producer took the best bit and made something even better out of that one little bit. But on a lot of occasions, the record they sampled was even better than the track. You never know. It was like that was what it was exciting about it. Like what else was on the original.
I'm an
Yeah.
example of somebody being very close to the process.
Yeah,
Like I was around when Bizarre Ride was made,
yeah,
but like I had no scope that it would ever impact people the way that it impacted people. But because it's before social media and then like looking, I mean, I knew it was a big deal because they went from a production studio to like a larger studio and
right.
a real engineer and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But like to me, it was kind of like when they did the Brand New Heavy Experience,
yeah,
they were on that record.
yeah,
I think I mean, even though I saw them, doing other stuff and they were, trying to shop the demos and all that kind of stuff. But I
yeah.
was like, dang, they're on a record. And I can't remember who else was on that record, but there was someone on that record that I liked a whole lot.
All kinds of
Um,
people.
Everybody was on that. Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember the particular artist. And I was just like, man,
Yeah,
they're part of, they're part of this thing. And then,
and that was their first thing, right? That was the first thing they
yeah,
did. Yeah,
no, they did that. And then they did, then they got the deal. And then they did, Bizarre Ride, but it wasn't. Yeah, it took me like before I really got the grasp of it. But I'll also say this because I used to think like, man, you know, I was around it and I wasn't the big. It seemed like I wasn't the largest fan of it,
Hmm.
but that wasn't it. What it was you got to understand. Uh, this is pre, and I keep saying it, but this was like pre-social media, and
Yeah,
so I didn't look at Brown as the rapper or Trey or Imani or I didn't look at them as like, oh, these are rapper dudes. I was like, oh, these are my homeboys. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're not looking at it.
yeah,
Well, it's not social media does it.
kind of blows people up.
It uh
Yeah.
it glamorized it. It was nothing glamorized about it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? It was I saw how hard they were working on it, but
sure.
it wasn't anything like glamorized. It
Yeah,
wasn't any of that.
Mm.
But I know people who know actors and it's kind of the same relationship. It's like they'll know like a famous actor, like someone who you're like, dang,
yeah,
but this person has just like grown up with them and they've been around them and they're interacting and they're like as a friend,
sure.
so they're not part of that other, that other part.
There's a person behind every star.
or that's rolling with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll say
And,
that's rolling with them.
man, the first Cypress Hill record too, and It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Those are two more that just
with
blew
samples.
my mind, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Cypress Hill Soul Assassin shit with all that first Cypress Hill record blew my mind away. I was like, holy
Right.
crap.
I mean, if it wasn't for hip hop, I don't think I would have the vast amount of knowledge
Same here.
and drive to, I wouldn't have opened a record store, put it that way, because that's what got me into jazz, funk, blues, world, everything.
So hip hop was your gateway into
drug.
Your gateway drug into
it's
learning
addictive,
the roots,
for real.
learning the roots of different types.
Roots, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I always say this, like, I've said it a few times, but like with De La and like all those records I just mentioned, it's like they were between the Dust Brothers and Prince Paul and the Bomb Squad and all these people were like, they were not like, genres were not important. They were just taking shit that sounded cool together. So it's like you would hear Peter Tosh and Johnny Cash and Slayer and, James Brown and Kool and the Gang all in like on one record. And I was like, I like all that stuff already, Now it's like, here's an artist who like, they don't care about genres. They're just putting shit together that sounds really good, And it was just like such a cool freaking collage that brought music together for me. I was like, oh, it's all just music, man.
Right. And that the Pharcyde, when that came out, for me, that was like, you could tell, one, that they were heavily influenced by New York, or respected it. The New York hip hop culture coming from the West Coast, though, but just the mix of samples and the energy, the dynamic that they had together, you just felt that energy. You're like, this is you wouldn't even say it's West Coast tribe, because it was its own thing, but you could tell the influence from it. And that's what I think touched a lot of people. It's like
that, and the sense of humor too. The sense of humor was key.
Humor, but dope production, good symmetry with each other. That one person sang a little bit, one person rapped, and it was just like, okay, like as a hip hop head, you're like, oh, I'm onto this shit,
Yep.
So that was my take.
I think part of me being kind of close, also, I mean, to this day, it's not that it blows my mind, but I just see that the group had an impact on a lot of, on a lot of people. Like it's like I could say one of the stories I've heard a million times. Man, that tape has been stolen from me so many times while I was in college. The tape or the CD. I've heard a couple. I've heard a minimal of 5 say, "Man, me and my girl were hooking up to the Pharcyde,
I knew you were gonna say that.
Back when we were in college." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yep.
Right.
But
it's a trip.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, once you put something out, like even on a smaller scale, like some of the stuff that I've done, like it's just nice to see it take on a life of its own and how it impacts people, and the fact that people spin your records or whatever, like just little satisfactions like that you just
connect.
It's nice to connect, and that other people connect to what you're doing, and sometimes you don't realize the impact it might have until you get feedback.
So this one's for you, Professor Shorthair.
Yes.
So what music, what hip hop, I'm looking for a word, the hip hop right now, what hip hop right now, like what artists can you say, okay, I'm kind of feeling them. I think that they're kind of,
oh man, I mean, the only I mean, there's so much stuff out there that I just don't freaking know. I mean, I even buy the stuff to sell at the store, and people are like, is it good? And I'm like, I don't know, like, but that being said, like Kendrick Lamar, I think, is just incredible poet. I mean, his shit is just on another level, and his music is on another level.
No, Kendrick is safe. I'll say Kendrick is safe But nah, some cats out there though, man. It's
Oh, I'm sure there is. Yeah, I just
you
don't know.
know, I'll tell you something funny, and you kind of don't like. For me, there was a lot of because he passed away. There was a lot of like, I guess, controversy around his name. But man, guys like Pop Smoke, 50 Cent's artist, and he was kind of like 50 in DMX. That he was kind of like that. But he could rhyme, like he could really rap. You know what I'm saying? And like I fought it for a while, but the Baby and Little Baby, they can rap. Their music, their music and where they are is just different than what we, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of what we where we came from, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they can rap. That was my thing, because it seemed like there was a gap in hip hop, like from maybe 2013 and 14 on, where you're like, okay, you have a million of these new guys and they have a look to them, and they have this press revolving around them and their personality and everything. But I was like, I want to hear somebody rap. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to hear somebody rap. And it's funny because after Kendrick, Brown turned me on to ASAP Rocky.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember playing that album over and over and over again, because I was like anti new music, all that, I was just like, man, these guys, I'm not, boo, just like I don't don't even want to give it a chance. When I heard ASAP Rocky, and I was like, dude, he's rapping. Like he's, I guess I felt so glad to just hear somebody actually, and the beats were dope. You know what I'm saying? The beats were dope. But I would give both of you the advice that an OG DJ homeboy gave me. And when you're listening to the new music, listen for a dope beat, listen for a dope hook, or listen for some dope rapping, but you may not get all three of them in one song.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where we're used to, you're gonna probably have two of those three. You know what I'm saying? In a dope song, you're probably gonna have two of those three.
Yeah.
But the music is just different now. But I do open myself up to it. I say it almost every show when I talk about Post Malone. I hadn't heard any of his music. I just kind of seen the star, and that's kind of like the gift and curse of social media and just having all access to different bits and pieces of content that an artist has about their lifestyle. Because with Post Malone, I just remember watching him on something, and he stepped off of a private plane, and he looked like he was kind of hungover, smoking a cigarette, whatever. And I prejudged him in a way where I was like, this is the dude, everybody. He makes dope music.
Yeah.
But the hangover and the cigarette had nothing to do with the music that he was making. And then we flew up to the Washington, Seattle, Oregon area to do some shows. And a lot of times when we get into the car, we turn to whatever the popular station is for the region that we're in, to just, something that everybody will probably listen to, because somebody might know, one of the popular songs going on.
Yeah.
And I remember they played like 4 Post Malone songs back to back, and they were good popular music for right now. You know what I'm saying? They were good. And I was like, dang, that's the dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, well, you know what, man? I gotta shake out of these old bones, man. You got it. Because the thing about it is, it's not bad, the music that goes on right now. It's just different. But along with that, because the process to make it is easier.
Yeah.
It's like food.
Yeah.
You could have a bomb meal prepared for you that just takes all day. You know what I'm saying? The meat is slow cooked, or the vegetables slow cooked. The gumbo is stewed throughout the day. You have that. And then you could have the jiffy pop culture stuff where it's just like, every 2 minutes they're turning over a sandwich, every 2 minutes. And what's going to taste better? The one that's cooked, you know what I'm saying? Or the sandwich. But music right now, in my opinion, people and the populace aren't really concerned about albums. They just want songs, you know. So they're just trying to make song after song after song. And then if you get large enough, and then there's enough demand behind you, you know, someone want an album. I know someone who works with Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
And I remember saying at one point, I was like, man, you know, like, how's he make money? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I was really like, and this is before 24 karat and all that stuff. This was like Bruno Mars, let's say 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And my boy was like, dude, because I think I was like, well, you know, how many albums does he have? And he's like, dude, he makes hits.
Yeah.
I remember my dude saying to him, he's like, they have a writing team. When they go into the studio, they're trying to make a hit. Like, that is their focus, is to make a hit. And he doesn't have to do albums because he sells hits. And then I was just like, dang. I was like, that's pretty, you know, that's pretty amazing. So with you, Dan, this Lions situation, we are going to talk about the Lions. So something funny about the Lions. So Malik, I'm cool with his brother Man.
Oh yeah, I love Man. He's cool, man.
So Man was like my old school homie. Like old school. I'm saying like 89, 88, 89. You know, I've known him as long as I've known the Pharcyde. You know what I'm saying? I've known like known Man for a minute. But what's funny is, okay, so Man is just like, when I met him, he was like this model. He was a model. I want to say I can't remember who he's modeling for, but like he was a model type cat. But he had his, you know, his thing, you know, his thing.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Malik, super talented singer, you know, guitar player, very soulful, you know, musician. He had his thing.
Absolutely.
But their younger brother's a comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big John. And
I don't know if I've ever met him, but I've heard about him. Yeah. Well, they're all comedians as far as, I mean, Malik makes me laugh like nobody else. And his mom is funny too. Their mom is funny too.
Dude, it was amazing. And I because I was somewhat of a fan of Big John. And I was looking at Man, I'm friends with Man on Facebook. And he posted a picture and he says, you know, I'm hanging with all my brothers. And Big John had Malik, and there might have been one more guy. Yeah. And I remember I called him. I said, man, Big John's your brother? He said, yeah, man, that's my little brother. I was like, man,
world, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, these guys come from a talented family. So how did the Lions come to be?
Well, the Lions, I mean, we've been together since 2007, I think, something like that. We did our first record then. We really, just like a bunch of us who knew each other kind of in the rare groove scene, all just kind of found out through the years that we were all huge reggae heads too. Like, you know, I've listened to reggae since like I was 15 or whatever. First heard the Diamonds and the Wailers and everything. And so we all just kind of, this original crew of us, our bass player Dave, our drummer Blake, this guy, trumpet player Todd Simon, Sergio and Dan Hasty. Like they were part of the original crew. There was like 7 of us that kind of started the band. And we were just like, let's get together and record some stuff just because we love playing reggae and nobody's really doing it like we like it, you know? And so it was just really digital at that time when we were doing it. And so we were like, let's do it. We got together and we like, Todd played it for the guys at Ubiquity and we got a record deal. Like it was like, okay, cool. You know, we weren't even thinking that. We were just like, let's get together and do some stuff. So we had done like 3 songs and, you know, we instantly had to come up with 9 more or whatever because we suddenly had a deal. So we put out our first record, Jungle Struttin', on Ubiquity, and it got played all over KCRW and people really loved it. And then we signed to Stone's Throw after that and put out 3 records with them. And yeah, it's just my brothers, man. I love all the guys in that band. It's like we're talking about doing a gig coming up, and I'm like, I'll do the gig. I don't care. I just want to go hang out at rehearsal. You know, it's like everybody in that band I just love, like my bros. You know.
Are Sergio and Danny still in the Lions?
No, they haven't done it. Danny's kind of played on records, but Serge hasn't done it in a while. They did. I think Serge played on the first record, and then after that, Orgone was just taken off, and so I've had Danny play some stuff on the records, but it kind of changed up after that.
Yeah, when and like late like 99, maybe 2000 or so,
Yeah.
when we added a band to what we do,
Yeah.
and I almost want to say Andy referred us to Danny.
Oh, is that right?
I want to that my if my mind serves me right, I want to say Andy because maybe for whatever reason when I think of Danny, I think of Andy for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, him and Serge, man, we never went to we went to Asia with Danny, but Serge never went there. But we were all over Europe with Serge in a Sprinter van, and I think that
Classic.
that was some very close living.
I'm sure it was.
Back in those days, that was like a tour was. It's so funny because guys nowadays they'll have 3 shows in a row and they're like, "Oh man, we're about to go on tour. We're about to hit the road."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, man, hitting the road is a Sprinter van with about 9 people for at least a month.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Somebody's gonna get sick.
Oh, that's some close quarters living.
Yep.
Yeah, a whole bunch of McDonald's at the time, and it was so funny because we take people on the road,
yeah,
and they say, "Ah, man, McDonald's and blah blah blah," and talk about it and all that kind of stuff. But hey, man, when you're in the middle of Austria somewhere late at night, man, and all you got are those fries.
Yeah, exactly. Dude.
No, you're gonna break down for sure. So to you, Professor, we're gonna ask you this, man. Since you are, because Dan got a whole bunch of them, and I've been like, I wanted to interview Dan, but then I feel like you being from New Orleans or living in New Orleans right now, you have a perspective. If you could have your dream verses of bands, they could be dead or alive, what would be your dream verses?
My dream verses? Like
yeah, the 2 bands that you'd like to see kind of play against each other.
And New Orleans related or not New Orleans?
It could be whatever. You're a DJ too.
That's a good question, Greg.
The most wackiest thing just popped in my mind. So the Meters being my favorite funk band, Sade being my favorite artist, Sade and the Meters, a back in time mashup, little soulful funk mashup, some beautiful vocals over some raw funk.
Somebody should do
it. Could sound like crap.
Yeah, not a verse. That would be like rest in peace. If Doom was still here, he could make that happen, man. He could have made that happen.
That'd be a good mashup. Somebody should see if the keys align and put Sade over some Meters beats. That'd be hot.
Come on, man. Dan, you got the studio. I think we're looking at the studio or the record, something or another. You better.
That would be hot like that. Do one of those. That'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. Do a Sade cover? A reggae style?
Just do like a mashup, like Homeboy did of the Gray, the Gray album with the Beatles and Jay-Z. Just do like Meters beat, I think there was some Sade acapellas over it. That'd be pretty hot.
Well, I think there was a Sade Doom situation.
They did.
Right.
They did one.
Dang, I didn't hear that.
Oh man, ridiculous. So you, Dan, if you could have your dream verses, who would your dream verses be?
Well, I was thinking. I mean, he said the Meters, but I was wondering. I've heard forever that the Meters were so influenced by Booker T and the MGs. So that would be cool to watch because they're kind of contemporaries of each other, but their styles are slightly different. Obviously, one coming from Memphis and one coming from New Orleans. But that would be hot to see those 2 bands go toe to toe in their heyday.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Yeah.
You know what? Both you guys
Meters all day.
Booker T, you can't mess with Booker T. And
I know.
Both you guys come from some cool places, so I'm about to just brag about where I come from. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, do it.
If I could have my dream verses,
what would it be?
I would pick the hometown heroes from where I come, where I reside. Harbor City, California, where you had the Chicano people in the projects
Yeah.
come together with some black people in the projects, and there was a couple white people sprinkled off in there too,
Yeah.
and a little group by the name of War.
War. Yeah.
So I would say I'd love to see War versus Mandrill.
Oh.
That's a good
That would
one.
be dope.
Yeah.
Oh my
That
goodness.
would be dope. That
I
would be
like
dope.
that.
Wow.
And not even because I'm from Harbor City, but dude, War had like so many good ones, man. I mean, beyond Lowrider and all that, though, like Four Corner Room, The World is a Ghetto,
Being Baby Brother. Oh my.
Yep.
Galaxy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a ton. They had a ton of good songs, that's for sure.
All right. So,
Hey.
Professor, your 3 favorite musicians.
My 3 favorite. Well, I told you Sade. Favorite guitarist from your, well, is he from your Eddie Hazel from P-Funk?
Okay.
I mean, the Meters is up there. Not a musician, but musicians.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, Prince is up there too. You got to say that. But I'll say those 3: Sade, Eddie Hazel, and Prince. Let's do that.
And you, Dan?
Well, we all have the same issues where we have just thousands of records behind us in every case here, but
3.
Man, I had to pick 3. Dang.
3 dudes, not bands. They can be from, probably are from a band, but three dudes.
I'm gonna say Jimi Hendrix for one, just because of the sheer like forward thinkingness, soulfulness, writing, playing, producing, all of that stuff, engineering, all in one person. It's just incredible.
Turning feedback into a theme. He really turned feedback into like a theme.
He did. He did so many amazing things. Okay, so him, Miles Davis. I grew up in a house with jazz. My dad played jazz, so we always
did some
had
stuff with a wah wah too. I want to say around maybe around Bitches Brew. He was messing with the wah wah.
He was getting in all kinds of stuff. Yeah, onward and upward. He never stayed in the same place twice, which is so amazing about him. He really just kept going. He didn't sit on his laurels ever, which is why I think probably my 3rd person will be David Bowie, because he did the same thing. He just recreated himself over and over and over again and had hits in every category.
But
yeah,
when you look at David Bowie, you have to look at a superstar on a label. Yeah. And even though he's going to want to do dope music and everything, for some reason, when you said David Bowie, I thought of Michael Jackson and him being on a label. And like, man, when you're that artist on a label, they are shooting producers at you left and right. You're hearing the dopest, like you didn't hear beats back then, but you heard, people would come into your studio session to play music, which I remember watching a Nile Rodgers interview.
Oh yeah.
He said he plays the same guitar riff on his Fender, on his Stratocaster. He played so Let's Dance, Freak Out, and the song that he did with Pharrell and Daft Punk is all the same guitar riff. I was like, he's amazing, man.
He's amazing. Amazing. Yeah. I mean, geez, Bowie, I've heard stories about the thing I just love about Bowie. Yes, he could work with anyone he wanted to, but I've heard stories about just dude going out to nightclubs all the time. Like he was constantly checking for stuff. He was living life, which is just beautiful. Like he was a star, but he would also go out to clubs and just meet people and hang out. Like he wasn't trying to be like, he was a good dude, apparently, just like a good dude who just loved life and loved being around people. And I admire that.
Cool. So we down to the last couple of questions.
Oh, okay.
So we will start with you, Mr. Professor, in NOLA.
Hmm.
you done brought your humidity here to LA, man. I'm up here sitting around like, man, oh boy. But where do you see social interaction going in the next 2 years?
Social interaction going in. Oh man, I'm too old for that question. Social interaction or social? You mean
Uh,
like online?
no, no.
Oh,
I
just
mean,
in
you own
general?
you own a record store, so you got to see people.
Right.
Have people started to come in more now? Are you guys open now?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, social
yeah. I
interaction
mean,
from from. I'm sorry. Uh,
true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you still got people people are very much opening up, but it's still shell shocked quite a bit, not knowing exactly how to interact with each other. At least that's how I feel. So it's, people are taking off their masks, but people are enjoying life and feeling that freedom, to travel more and do stuff that they weren't doing before. But it's also comes with a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of like,
Mhm.
what, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. So I, in next 2 years, that's a tricky question. I mean, hopefully, I don't know if we'll ever get back to pre-pandemic situation, but it already feels like some places are totally open. As long as you've been vaccinated, it's like
Yeah.
all good. But it definitely, I think it's gonna scar societies, scar the globe to a certain extent, and maybe in some good ways too. You know,
Yeah.
so
and
I don't
so
know.
um, it's funny because I talk to booking agents still. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I just feeling the pulse, and everyone from my cats over at Live Nation to my cats over at Golden Voice and
Mm.
independent people in Europe, just
Mm.
we just check up. We've worked together for like 10 years, 15 years, whatever. So we check up on each other, and
Nice.
it's interesting because maybe about 6 or 7 months ago, it was it was thought that okay, maybe 2023, 2024, we'll be back to maybe a little bit doing what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then um that was pre-heavy vaccine rollout. And
Mm.
Mm.
so in my mind, I was thinking late 2022 for sure. Like I'm thinking
Mm.
late 2000, and I'm not saying back to normal, but I'm saying shows, people out,
Yeah.
the heavy fear of the virus kind of chilling out and people, not being so protective.
Yeah.
And it seems like within the last maybe 3 to 4 months, things have just moved so fast, man. They just
Yeah.
really, really, really move so fast. And
Mm.
I'm probably gonna wear my mask in public around people for a while. Like
Sure.
Mm.
that's just me.
Mm.
I get people, the anti-maskers, and this, that, and the third, and I say uh, on both sides of the coin,
Mm.
mask is gonna be like draws. If you wear it, you're gonna wear it. If you don't wear it, you're not gonna wear
And they smell funky like
it.
draws after a
You're
while
not gonna
too.
wear it. Well, I happen to start making masks after the pandemic kicked off, so I keep a couple in rotation, man. I keep them like draws. I keep like 5 in my car, so we can rotate them around, rotate them around.
Can never
So
be too prepared.
no, so with you, Dan, where do you see social interaction going in the next 2 years?
Man, again, Ben, thanks for being the first guy with all these questions. It gives me a minute to think. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just like, I feel like this pandemic has really given people a lot of kind of appreciation for not having what we all have taken for granted. Going out and seeing live music, hanging out and hugging a friend that you haven't seen in a long time. I mean, I just DJ'd my first wedding this last weekend and saw people and was giving them hugs, and I was like, I haven't hugged anyone other than like my kids and my wife and my mom for a year and a half or whatever it is. And I was like,
Right.
this is it was great. You know, it was just like I hugged
Mm,
the person even longer. You know, and it
mm,
was like I just hope people get an appreciation for what we've all been missing. You know, and obviously as musicians, I think people are seeing, you know, how important it is to have that in our lives. I hope they do, you know, and people are just supporting artists because not all of us have had it lucky with finding work over this break, and you know, people really need your support to keep the arts alive and doing cool, amazing stuff. You know.
mm.
Well, I will say that you were probably um, I'll say, man, I really want to say there could have been some other stuff going on,
Hmm.
but you're probably one of the yeah, between yeah, probably you and our DJ Mike Realm, you're probably the only people that have come to the studio and come over there like on Brown side, you know, like on that side or whatever, since everything kind of went crazy. And
Right.
I remember seeing you come in, and then it was just kind of like I think you were masked up,
I
and
was
then
passed up, and you were hanging with some friends of yours doing something. I don't remember.
oh yeah, no, yeah, we were doing stickers. Yeah, we were doing stickers, and I just remember saying, "Damn." And then you know, it was weird to interact with someone outside of people who you worked with in
Yeah,
a like in that environment.
for sure.
Mm.
And then I kind of eased up a little bit. I saw you cruising around with the camera, getting your footage and everything. Brown was doing his thing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, man, it's almost normal. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Almost.
Uh,
Oh yeah.
it's it still feels weird, but yeah,
It
it's
feels weird, but you know, it's I think it'll come back. I think everybody's so happy to see each other, you know. I think people are just missing a connection. You know, all of us who are whatever 50 or a little bit younger or a little bit older, we have that perspective because we've had it the other way for so long. I worry about the kids, you know, like my kids are 16 and 18, and then my daughter missed her whole senior year of high school, you know. And it's just
right.
like they don't have all that history of like it being one way to kind of reflect on. It's crazy, you know. It'll take a while before we start seeing what the effects of this pandemic are. I'm sure.
yeah, the lack of social interaction,
Yeah,
you know, the
Mm,
lack of it, you know. And you know, for me, I really felt for the kids because everyone that I know that had kids, they all had their stories. Like, man, the kids are going through it. They're feeling it. And for me, I guess I kind of felt like, man, like my thing would be, I'd get home from working,
yeah,
I come home, I chill for a while, and then at 10 o'clock, I'd say I'm gonna hop in the shower. I'm out the shower by 10:30.
yeah.
I'm somewhere able to listen to some music or something by 11:30. And
Mm,
then I'm like, I'm only gonna be here for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I'm gonna be full. Then I just not full eating, but just musically, like
sure.
because sometimes I would just crave interaction. So I was just like,
Right.
okay,
mm.
I'm gonna just roll out real quick and dip into this spot real quick,
Yeah,
shake a couple hands, kiss a couple babies, bounce,
yeah,
out. And then it's just kind of like, man, all that was taken away, man.
yeah.
Mm,
I know, man. I know.
crazy.
It is
Yeah,
crazy. It is crazy.
Mm,
all that. But on the better times, man, we have this single by the name of
All night.
all night,
New single
all night.
all night on Super Jock Records, which our man Professor Shorthair runs out of New Orleans. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a tribute to New Orleans with our man Booty Brown doing some amazing, beautiful rhymes over that we're so grateful for.
That's
Hmm.
tight.
And
And then
thanks to you for putting it all together, man, helping us
oh
out.
man, I'm
Yeah. Thank you.
just a piece in the mix, man. And I'll say that this episode of Splendid Radio was brought to you by Batos Gardens. Uh,
Right.
some of your finest in cannabis oils that can be found in local dispensaries in Los Angeles, California, and in Pasadena.
Yes,
You can
sir.
go to the I'm not sure if it's Batos or Batos Gardens, but it's Bottos. I'm almost positive it's Batos Gardens.
Three T's?
Yep, three T's.
Okay.
Three T's, Batos Gardens. Go check them out, and you will not be disappointed. So, with that being said, Professor Shorthair, I really appreciate you for tapping into this. This was going to be
Thank you.
an interview with Dan, and then I was thinking about it. Oh man, that wax looks all right.
Did I get the?
Yeah, man.
Oh, I got the black one here. You could get it in purple, as I like to call it, grape drink purple, or black.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Two fancy flavors.
Two fancy flavors.
Nah,
Kool-Aid. Nah.
that's pretty awesome. Do you want to give your social media out, Professor Short?
Yeah, well, the 7-inch you can pre-order starting this Friday on Super Jock Records Bandcamp page, and then also it's available through Fat Beats and Juno if you're overseas.
Mm-hmm.
And my personal Super Jock Records is just on Instagram, Super Jock Records, and then my personal one is professor.shorthair on Instagram. But yeah, we only made 500 of these bad boys right now, so hopefully they do well. We'll repress some more, but we're excited to get this out to the world very soon.
Yes, sir.
That's dope. And your social media, Dan?
I am on social media. Dan Ube Productions, DANUBE Productions, and then CP and the Keystones, Connie Price and the Keystones.
It's so funny. Whenever I see Connie Price,
Yeah.
it's kind of like I feel like I know Dan Ubick.
Yeah. That's my friend Egon helped me make that up.
Yeah, I know Dan Ubick, but I guess Connie Price is that cool dude that came down the store 2 for $2 and spun a couple times. You know what I'm saying? He's come down with the smallest little box of 45s and just rocked it real hard for a minute.
Oh, thanks, man.
See, that's the kind of stuff I miss, man. Like really, that's the kind of stuff I miss. You know,
I want to do that again soon. As soon as that's able to happen, I would love to come down and do that again. That was fun.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have to do that. So with that being said, I want to thank the both of you guys for tapping in. This has been a very educational interview for me. You know what I'm saying? And I've been able to tell some old man stories. You know. Cool. So with that being said, this is Splendid Radio on Pharcyde TV. Peace.